Hi there, this is Jason, aka the background dancer, and today I am making a very special video upon the request of many friends and families alike. Something that I've resisted to do for a very long time, but I think it's finally that time to share this with you and hopefully also connect with some of you who might have had a similar setback. But before I begin, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to find all things dance. I talk a lot about career development and transition, as well as other niches within the dance and performing arts industry. So just click that button over there before we begin. Now let's get into the video. So this video will be broken down into three main sections, namely what happened, the positives, and last but not least, the valuable lessons, of course, that will hopefully resonate with you. Now to begin things, I want to bring you all the way back to the very start. I was doing a performance and fell awkwardly. Essentially what happened was my knee turned inward and cracked, right? So something in there broke. It was a partial tear of my anterior cruciate ligament, as well as damages to my medial ligaments, as well as my meniscus. Now, the first consultations were very blur until I think about a month later, where I eventually had to go for an operation, what was called a knee arthroscopy, so basically just the fixing of the meniscus. And when the doctors inspected my ACL, they said it was still intact and didn't require full repair. So I returned to dance 3 months later, and everything was pretty much okay at the very start. The pain was not so crazy up until maybe a couple of weeks later, when the pain and the swelling started to come back, and I didn't know what was happening. I knew something was wrong at the time, but my physios and my doctor were saying like, it's okay, just keep on doing it, keep on strengthening. I didn't understand that strengthening in that term wasn't the same as, dancing. So what followed was a 3-month new creative process, which I basically pummeled through, and it wasn't easy. Once again, there was a lot of pain, but I managed to finish the show, and I decided to go for a second MRI in the space of a year after that. And well, to my heartbreak, what was revealed was a complete tear of the ACL due to wear and tear, and of course further damages to my meniscus. And this time I didn't already have a choice. I had to go for the full repair, which I did in January 2023. And what followed, of course, was a very grueling, painstaking, intense recovery period with a lot of physio, rehab, a lot of psychological healing as well. And yes, as a result, I kind of laid low from everything, social media, life itself, just kind of stayed at home instead, to focus on my family, my friends, and just my personal relationships, and of course my physical health. It's been about 8 months now, and I'm finally back at work, although still kind of building up my fitness and my condition. And now it's different because I actually have a new ligament in my knee compared to the first time when the ligament was already kind of like, tacky. The positive was that I got a very good doctor for my second surgery. Yep, I wasn't very impressed with the first one, and apart from just the doctor's treatment of my knee, the full repair of the ACL, of course the nurses at the hospital and everyone around me at the time were just a lot better. They just cared for me much better. I also had a full-time job, and I still have that full-time job, so which meant health insurance as well as professional security. At the time, I was also already experiencing burnout, so despite it being a horrible experience, it was actually a timely break from dance in general. I was just kind of tired of it all. Rediscovery of my professional life. As I was out injured, I wasn't able to dance, go back into work full time, so I had to find other things to do. And what came was developing season 2 of my podcast, The Background Dancer, but also something really interesting came up, which is called Artunio, a new young startup here who's planning, or we're all planning to build a new social network for the arts. So trying to be an entrepreneur and also a content creator whilst healing to become a full-time dancer again. Yes, after you get injured, you learn a lot about how your body works. You become aware of a lot of things that maybe were very oblivious to you before. So your diet changes, your lifestyle changes, and also just the way that you approach dance. I have definitely become a much different dancer right now, partly because I'm afraid, but also because I think there are very different ways and much more intelligent ways to actually move that I just wasn't open to beforehand. I know dance is always a very risky business, but there are ways to emphasize longevity and sustainability, right, of the body and the mind, And just because someone asks you to dance doesn't mean you have to, especially if it's your livelihood. You always have to think long term, because maybe the world of dance can actually benefit from you being there on stage and being available. At the time, I think I didn't do this very well, because during the period of my first injury, the first operation, I was basically listening to 2 people, max 3, because I kind of trusted them, and in hindsight I shouldn't, because I knew I was just one of those patients, right? Just another person on the sick bed, when I should have maybe spoken to more people, more doctors, and kind of get more expert opinions about what I could have done for myself. So always find more people to talk to, but ultimately it comes down to you and your decision. Recovery is basically like life. It's up and down, and it's dependent on so many different factors, especially external ones, to kind of influence the way you feel about a certain injury. So never think that recovery is linear. Always just sort of pay attention to what is required on that particular day. It's always changing. Yes, there goes the saying, but I'm gonna add my own spin to it, only if you want it to as well. Just because you are sat down and unable to do things doesn't mean a window will just magically open for you. You really have to go and find it yourself, find opportunities, reach out to people, and just find a way to grow in a time when it's not so visible. I have a good friend of mine, Suki from Malaysia, who told me that she loves trees because they are constantly growing even when it's invisible to the eye. And I think when you're injured, this is something that can be very well applied to you, that you always have to keep growing despite not being able to dance or perform on stage. You just have to embrace life as it comes. Don't wait for others to decide what's best for you. Be the change that you need. And I really wish I could have done this better, because when I got injured, I felt so hopeless, helpless, that I was maybe pandering to too many people's wants and needs, and kind of neglected what was essentially my own life and my own body. And I have to admit, there were things that I couldn't control, but most of it I could, and I maybe regretted not doing as much or not taking as much initiative towards that. When the time comes for a certain change, make it and just commit to it. Because if you just wait for people to do things for you, you're going to be the one suffering at the very end of the day. So if you have made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for connecting with me. Reach out to me in the comment section below if you had a similar setback. Once again, I don't usually do videos like this, but hopefully this one is valuable enough for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course tune in to all my other playlists here on the Background Dancer YouTube channel. Whoever you are, wherever you are, if you have been injured or are still recovering from injury, I pray and send you all my best wishes that you'll be able to dance again, and hopefully we'll be able to dance all together, maybe even metaphorically, on the same stage one day. So take care, and I'll see you in the next one.